Hey man, we warming up, man. We warming up, baby. Hey, hey. About an 8-game slate. Hey man, I like them strings, baby. How many points y'all going for today? Hey man, I'm going for 200. 200. Hey man, getting this thing warmed up for the Draftkings MLB slate. Being that $15 contest. Yes sir. 100 bands for first place. What can you do with 100K? You got to beat out 23,528 people. Can you do that? Hey, 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 yeah, hey, hey, yeah. 1, 2, 3, hey, hey. Hey man, we back again, man. Hey, we rolling with consistency, man. You know, no insanity, consistency. That's what it's about right here in this camp. Solution Sports, baby. Another streaming, another breakdown in depth. We got 8 games today. They do got 1 game going on right now. They got the Tigers right now playing the Giants, and the Giants look like a strikeout machine right now. I didn't have much faith in Scooble. You know, he's come off an injury. They taking their time with him, but I mean, he looks magnificent out there. San Francisco looks like there's just another day at the office. Like, you know, they look depleted. Honestly, they don't look like they're a team with a better record. So looks like Detroit came up. They're ready to play ball today, early game, but San Francisco, they just lagging. So most of the people out is a showdown. So some people got in a showdown. That's when you pick a captain and 5 other players. So pretty much, if you had Scooble in your captain, he's probably looking good right now. I think he left in the 5th inning with 9 strikeouts. And I mean that does make sense. When you look at San Francisco, they rank pretty much at the bottom in strikeouts. Look at that. They're ranked 28th, and they have some key hitters not even in their lineup. So they're definitely exposed today. So that was definitely the play. So I thought about doing a showdown stream, but I kind of left it alone. Those 2 teams aren't too exciting, even though it is an opportunity, right, to wager and put a lineup in and, you know, make some earnings. But, you know, we'll get to showdowns one day and we break it down. I mean, I'm not afraid to put a lineup out there. As you said, I think the lineup I had yesterday had about a production of about 134 points, and that easily cashed in big tournaments and probably would have taken down some head-to-heads. Winners take all. Rizzo, I did keep him in that lineup. He had over 30 points, went 4 for 4 yesterday. So Yankees looked good yesterday. Braves had, you know, they didn't score a ton of runs, but they had some players in their lineup. I mean, Albies went deep. He had like 20 fantasy points. So continue to lock in with me, man. You know, we can make success together. That's what it's all about. You know, sharing intellect. Of course, you know, a lot of, you know, streaming content creators on DFS, we kind of look at the same thing, sometimes take different approaches. I kind of like to be very conversational, more kind of like, you know, in your face, you know, more streamlined, you know, not just like a robot just throwing numbers out there. And, you know, kind of want to make it more of a relation, kind of like a story almost, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, not too much debatable, but just to intrigue your curiosity, right? That's what it's all about, because we're playing fantasy. we really don't know what's going to happen. But again, there are numbers, there are statistics, there are analytics that can help us point in the right direction. All right, so we got Colorado and Washington here. Again, when you look at both the teams, and again, this slate starts at 7 o'clock, 7:05. I think I said it's about 8 games. And right now, the Rockies, according on DK Live, there's about a 39% chance of rain around 6. The game starts at 7. At 7 o'clock, it's about a 40% chance, but it's kind of like caution, not really like, red. So they'll definitely be able to get this game in. It goes down to about 10% at 8 o'clock, so they should be fine. No real worries there. We go ahead and highlight here on DK. And finally, Washington has, honestly, I thought it would have put Corbin in the damn bullpen. Because Corbin, I think he's just there for his veteran presence there amongst some of the younger guys. But Corbin is definitely not anything great to talk about. He's pitching in 16 available decisions. He's has a record of 6-10. He normally doesn't really make it out of the 5th inning, and even if he does, his statistics probably won't be looking very well. Of course, he's saying, what do you mean he got 34 against Seattle? Honestly, that was an anomaly. He does have a good game here and there, but he's not trustworthy at all. And yeah, again, I do preach about taking risk in daily fantasy. Now, today is the day where you could take a risk based on Colorado. And, Colorado is not really playing for anything right now. But again, any team is dangerous on any different night, any particular night when you're playing daily fantasy. And just like I spoke about it yesterday, when a team doesn't have anything to play for, standings-wise, they are still auditioning. And we are going into the trade deadline today, so certain players do have incentives in their contracts, and certain players maybe looking for a new home, and they're trying to be spotted out by scouts in the crowd. And sometimes you might be able to go to a team that's contending when you're on in a trade, when you're on a team that's not doing anything. So they're 39-59. They're 20 games under 500, man. .398 winning percentage on the year. In a tough division with the Dodgers and Arizona, even San Diego, they're still in front of them by 8.5 games with how bad they've been playing. So Colorado, if you look at it from a simplistic standpoint, you can say definitely that they could probably be had. They could be vulnerable against Corbin. He is a left-hander, and we do know some of their hitters are out. Let's see what it's looking like here. And Blackman is still on the IL. Bryan is DTD. Not certain if he's going to play. Cron is day-to-day. So even if they do come back, Cron and Bryant, which I doubt, they're not going to really be at full strength. So Corbin does have some opportunities, and with him, his inconsistency this year, his salary is not going to be that high. 7,300. He's giving you about an FPPG of 10.5 fantasy points a game. That's his average on the year. If you want to get 200 points, which is what you're going to need to take down these big contests with big first place jackpots, you gotta get one of these performances. 26 like he did against Texas, 34 against Seattle. But he has some good showing, but there's some areas of concerns. Like he had 5 against Pittsburgh, right? 2 against the Dodgers, 5 against Miami, -3 against San Diego, -5 against Cincinnati. And he does have some hard contact. Guys hit off him for hard contact, and he doesn't really get right-handers out too efficiently either. And he's been susceptible to give up multiple home runs in the game, which is devastating when you can't really get strikeouts. Now, ironically, a veteran pitcher like this, as he goes into the end of the year, he would tend to maybe slow down, but he's actually kind of picked up the pace here in his last 2 games. The Cubs have been kind of showing out in that St. Louis series, and in his last start on the road in Wrigley Field, He gave up 3 earned runs. He had 1 home run. I mean, he didn't kill you by being in the negative, which has been a part of his identity. But he did get sick at his last 2 games. He's gotten you over 5 strikeouts. So 7,300. I don't like the salary. He was 6,300 in that game versus the Cubs, and Draftkings went up a whole $1,000 on him. That's not very cute. I don't like it. I won't spend 7,300 on Corbin. And if you look at Colorado, they have won their last 2. So if we look at Washington, they've won their last 2. So both teams are on a winning streak. Covers. Let's see what they got to say. And it's over unders at 9.5. I won't be surprised if they go over that, honestly. Who's some hitters that could probably take advantage of him? And I mean, I'm gonna just show you some of his stats here, man. Honestly, I gotta show you. So I mean, they got the expected lineup with Brian in there and Cron, but we don't know if they're going to play. I mean, honestly, Grichuk could definitely do some damage. Profar, I mean, he's not fooling a lot of people at the plate. So, I just feel like anybody has a good opportunity. If they wait on their pitch and they're disciplined against Corbin, they'll get a pitch to hit. Now, if Colorado comes back with Bryant or Cron, like even if they bring back one of the 2, that immediately makes their lineup a lot more formidable. I believe this would have been over like 10 runs, 10, 11 over under if those guys were definitely in the lineup. But if they bring both of them back today, man, Colorado can definitely do some damage against Corbin, honestly. So let's see what Draftkings updated on the DTD on Bryant. He's out of the lineup on Sunday. He has a finger injury. So fingers, you need your fingers to catch the ball, throw the ball, and have balance with the bat in your hand. So that's not looking good. And Cron has a back issue, so he sat out in Sunday's game. So back injuries can linger for a while, man. So it's not probably looking too well. They're not in contention to win anything, so they're not gonna really push. Those are 2 of their main players to do anything. We got Colorado at plus 135 on the money line. Washington is minus 155. Again, Corbin, he's a veteran. He relies on locating the ball, kind of like Adam Wainwright. Not really going to overpower you. But, I mean, they got a better experienced pitcher on the mound. Not by really anything impressive. But with Colorado's lineup looking very tainted, just like how San Francisco's lineup looked coming into the game. That's why they're an underdog. Their offense is not at full potential. The consensus is still giving Colorado a good chance of winning at 46% versus the 54% of Washington. So Washington been swinging the bat well, honestly. They look good against San Francisco. They're playing good at home right now, so I wouldn't really change anything. I don't really like Corbin at all, but they're doing a bullpen day here with Kaufman and Bird. Colorado's pitching has been bad. This guy has a 10.19 ERA. They're probably hoping he can just get through one inning before they can take him out. I mean, again, Washington, they're going to have some opportunities in their lineup for sure. The thing is do you want to take a risk and play them? Right? So, I mean, Washington definitely is going to have some opportunities against this bullpen day that they're doing. Thomas looked very good in his last game. Lane Thomas, I mean, if you had him in your lineup in that last game against San Francisco, he definitely helped prepare your lineup. With 37 fantasy points, he's definitely in play. Candelario, he hasn't really looking great, but I mean, his ceiling is and he got a 30-pointer against San Diego. I mean, like, he had 3 games here where he had 12 and 17, 10. So he is a big part of the RBI metrics in that team. Batting runs in, and he can hit for power. So definitely go for Washington. I wouldn't roster any pitchers in this game. If you want to bet on the game, I would go with Washington. They're trying to I think they're trying to build on something, even though they're not going to win the division, but they're trying to kind of build on, get some momentum and get some positivity. And it looks like some of the playing time is beginning to show with some of the pitchers and some of the batters. So I like all Washington. I don't really see Cron or Bryant coming back based on the injuries. So I won't really play anything with Corbin on Prize Picks. He's just too erratic. He can blow you up in one inning. I mean, even though Colorado is not at full strength, I mean, he's one of those pitchers that makes someone mediocre good, because his stuff just isn't what it used to be when he was in his prime. So we move on from that game. It's not really anything to kind of dissect on Colorado. Again, the only thing you can go on is a 9 over under, right? So I mean, it definitely, as you can see, it's definitely sporting offense in that game. 9.5. That line might even go up. So I'm kind of with everything here. 9.5 over under. I think it'll be 10. I do like Washington slightly favored in the game. So Washington hitters. Let's see if Thomas has any splits against them. 7.5. So he got 6 hits and 15 at bats. Not bad. But you got Abrams. I don't think Abrams had a great game yesterday. He had that big game, the previous first and second game in San Francisco, but he's definitely in play. So if you're doing a multiple lineup, Draftkings, they got a big $3 contest today. I think they're giving out like $10,000 for first place. If you want to roll out about 5 lineups in that contest, man, put a Washington stack in there and mix it in with someone else. So they can definitely help you qualify, because they got a good matchup today. Kansas City and Cleveland, as we saw, Kansas City just got swept by the Yankees. Their pitching staff, outside of Singer, they kind of got exposed a little bit to a team that's trying to find themselves in the Yankees. So today they're running out Yarbrough. Yarbrough is kind of a journeyed veteran. He's kind of bounced around the league. He is a decent left-hander, but he's more like a reliever, like a middle reliever. Sometimes he'll get a spot start, but he doesn't really go deep into games anymore. He can probably give you maybe a strong 5 innings, but I mean, if he starts to struggle, man, they probably pull him out. And on the 23rd here in the update, he said he had looks like his hamstring has been plaguing him lately, but he's going to start today. They're giving him a start. They're trying to bring him back along, just like Detroit was bringing Schoolboy back along today in the early game versus San Francisco. So he is a lefty. That kind of helps him going against Ramirez, because Ramirez is a lot better. Jose Ramirez for Cleveland, he's a lot better against righties. So that's the first thing when you playing any pitcher against the Indians. There's 2 things you want to dissect. Is he left or right? Because Ramirez can pretty much mess his whole day up. If he's walking, and Ramirez is he'll bat runners in, or he'll do it himself and hit a home run over the fence. So we saw the other day when Nola was pitching against them, and Quan actually surprised they hit a home run off of Nola the other day. So Quan comes and goes. He's a decent player. Again, he doesn't strike out a lot. In his last 5 games, he only got 1 strikeout. That is identity. You must remember that is the identity of Cleveland. They're a tough team to strike out. If you look at this here, they're ranked first when it comes to strikeouts per game. They do not. They're hard out, man. So y'all brothers gonna have he's gonna have a tough time. All right. I mean, if we look at covers, we're gonna go to the covers. Everyone's liking Logan Allen, man. I like the lefty here. Kansas City, the thing about Kansas City, I'm kind of watching them close on when they're going to get a win, because they're kind of a sleeping team right now. They're 4 losers of their last 4 games in a row, 3-7 in their last 10. They're going to win a game eventually. And how they win, I don't know, but we saw them beat up on the Dodgers last week, and they put up, I think the end score was like 9-1, so if you're in Daily Fantasy, if you can be on the end result of that and you get them on the right day, you definitely going to be ahead in your contest. Because people aren't looking to play Kansas City, but they're highly contrarian. But people do know who to play in that lineup. They know to play Witt Jr. I think Salvi finally got off the schneid the other day. I told everyone in the stream the other day that his slumping had to stop, and he got a home run in that game against the Yankees. So they kind of played a little bit more competitive. I mean, Witt Jr. came out and he asserted a little bit more effort. He had 2 hits again. He did get on the base and steal. So I would definitely roll out some players, man, for Kansas City. I think that they're going to try to come out here and try to get a win here. I mean, they're going to. The best way to get anything started is to try to win the first game of the series. Again, they're kind of like near the bottom of the league in strikeouts, so and being a lefty going against Melendez and some of the lefties in that lineup, might help them a little bit. Let's look at Allen. Again, Kansas City, they're gonna definitely make pitchers look better because of what they're going through right now. What I just showed you about his strikeout. So he has a salary of $8,700. His salary went up another $1,000, just like Corbin did. So he hasn't given up the long ball in the last 3 games, which is good. When he's not giving up the long ball, he can be good now. I mean, he had a 10 strikeout performance against a tough Baltimore team. So I definitely like Logan Allen. I mean, all the players he got to look out for and keep all. He just got to keep Witt Jr. off the base and don't let Salvador pull one over the fence. So he's definitely in play. I like Logan Allen. Even the 8,700. I mean, he had an 8,000 clip against Kansas City in Kansas City. So he was on the road when he was $8,000 against Kansas City in Kansas City. He gave you 14 points. That definitely needs to get up into 20 against a slumping team. For not giving up any home runs, I mean, to get 14 points, that's kind of underwhelming. He had 5 strikeouts in that game. You gave him 98 pitches. So no decision, but he only went 3.2 innings. He hasn't been going long lately. And 5 innings against Pittsburgh, and he had 30 fantasy points, 8 strikeouts in 5 innings. He was dealing. Okay, so back on May 29th, he had a 7 inning pitches game there, 2 6-inning pitches there. He got lit up by San Diego. Again, no one's perfect, right? But I like his overall log, and it's just 2 things, you gotta go with what's there. Cleveland does have something to play for in the standings. They're 2 games behind Minnesota. Both teams have won their last 2 games between Cleveland and Minnesota in a row, and both teams are playing 500 or better baseball in their last 10. So you gotta kind of go with the team that has something to play for. He wasn't dominant against Kansas City, but I mean, they didn't knock him out of the game in an embarrassing way. So as for home games, his ERA is higher, 3.94. He's giving up a higher batting average in Cleveland, .288. He's giving up more home runs and less games started at home. So according to that, he's more comfortable traveling on the road than being in Kansas City. So that's an area of concern. But I'm not gonna actually let that deter my decision making, because I still think Logan Allen is definitely a better player, definitely a better matchup. So I like all Cleveland here. Again, don't get distracted with Ramirez having the bat from the right side. I think in a game he had a 3 home run performance game this year. He was actually had one of those home runs from the right side. So definitely roster him. I mean, he's a great player, and his salary's been in the 6,000 before. So anytime you get him under 6,000, that's good. Look at that, he was 6,100 against Kansas City back on July 8th. So in the 3 games set they had in Cleveland, he had a hit in each game. Didn't go deep in any of them. Let me see here. So he might be able to go deep today, right? So I like Ramirez, man. He's again, I'm a big fan of him, man. I like him a lot. So it's an 8.5 over under in that game. All right. Again, if you're gonna roll anybody with Kansas City, I mean, out of the whole catching position, Salvador is always, when he's healthy, he's one of the toughest outs in the game. And he's trying to get, that's a good sign that he swung the bat and got a home run yesterday. That's a good sign. So, kind of like when Rizzo was in a slump and he got that one hit and then he went 4 for 4 the next game. Maybe that's a good sign of things to come for Perez. So, that's the order. The top of the order is what would give him the most trouble. That was what would give Logan Allen the most trouble. Garcia, Witt, Perez, Parado, that top 5. They got Melendez in this expected lineup batting this low. I don't think when the lineup comes out, I doubt he'll be batting 7th. Pretty sure he'll be batting a lot higher than that. And let's go ahead and keep refreshing that. Let's see if they might get something updated here. It's still kind of early. It's about 3 o'clock here since Eastern Standard Time. Okay, here we go. So, like I said, Melendez, he's batting 3rd. So, I like that, man. They even moved Duffy up to the 5th spot. So, they want to win, man. They're on a losing streak, man. And, they got Yarbrough out there on the mound. I don't know how many innings he's going to get him. But I said I won't trust him because he's not a pitcher that can really go the distance, according to where he's at right now, coming off that hamstring. So, Kansas City will get some hits in this game. They could even, the best right. Well, 2 of their better hitters are righties, Perez and Witt Jr. So that they may get lucky, man, and they might one of those guys, even Olivares, one of those 3 guys may catch Logan Allen slipping. So. But, Guardians, they've slipped under 500. I'm pretty sure they want to get back to 500. They're 49-50. I got to play the role of dissecting both sides. So, I still like Cleveland better. You still got that in the back of your mind. Hey, can Kansas City actually... Because when you come off of being swept in the Yankees like they did, the last thing you want to do is start off a new series losing the first game. So trust me, they're gonna come out and try to really play high IQ ball today. So they don't have Greinke on the mound. They don't have I forgot the other young guy. He's horrible. But they have some bad starters pitching there on that team. So Yarbrough, his ball can be a little bit deceiving. He's kind of a very sweeping kind of delivery he has, and he's kind of tall, man. He has a long stretch, so I know they don't strike out a lot, but he has good. Yarbrough he can be very good. I remember when he used to play with Toronto. He's one of their better starters when he was on, and even when they moved him to middle relief, he did very well for them. So that'll be a good, interesting game to see how Cleveland handles the pitching lineup from Kansas City. Now, if they get into their bullpen before the 3rd inning, and that's Cleveland, that might spell a lot of hardship for Kansas City because their bullpen is not good either. All right, let's move on to Seattle and Minnesota. I think Castillo is pitching today. He is one of my favorite pitchers. Let me make sure. Yes, he is. 10,600. Now, here's another team, Minnesota. I told everybody I liked Giolito yesterday. In the last game they played against the White Sox, they had a 3-0 lead, and the White Sox, man, they fooled themselves, bro. I tell you, man. I mean, they cost me yesterday because I could have definitely easily qualified. If Giolito would have gotten that win, those 4 points would have been right on point. But that was just very deflating, man. To see the White Sox succumb a loss like that. I mean, they let Minnesota put up 3 runs in the 9th inning, man. I mean, they was winning 1-0. I mean, 3-0, and they come up and the game went to 12 innings. But again, if we go back, I did it. You look at the White Sox, they're 41-59, and that's why when you can't put teams away, even when your ace is on the mound, it gives you a 3-run lead. That shows you, it tells you everything you need to know. So they got another tough matchup today. They don't want to get behind Seattle. I can tell you that. Seattle right now, they're winners of their last 3. They're playing above 500 in their last 10. 2 games over 500, 7.5 behind the Texans. And Texans, I think they came out that series with the Dodgers. They're losers of their last 2. So Seattle needs to continue to win. They don't want to drop down to 10.5 games. So this is a game they should win. Maeda is a former Cy Young winner, but he's not the same Maeda he was a few years ago. Losing record 2-5, and had 2 no decisions in his last 2 games. Looked good against Seattle, but he's in Minnesota. So let's look at his splits. Home versus on the road. His ERA on home, 8.44 ERA. He hates pitching in Minnesota. That's bad. Okay, terrible. 15 earned runs in 16 innings pitched. And Seattle got some decent players in their lineup now. I think one of their Kalenic, I think he hurt himself. I think he hurt his hand or something. He had got upset. Yeah, I think his foot. He kicked the cooler and he fractured his foot or something. That's very unfortunate. He had double-digit home runs, batting for a decent average. A very valuable left-hand bat in that lineup, and he messed himself up and hurt his team by doing that. Let's look at what Covers got to say, what the house has to say, the house outside the house. Well, I tell you. So, I don't understand it, man. I mean, Castillo got good stuff. The consensus, I don't understand. I do like the over-under at 8. I do respect both pitchers. I don't understand how they got minus 115. I don't understand how people think Minnesota should be favored in this game. I don't get that one, man. I mean, I think he had a good game against him last time, but I look at environments. You know, he was pitching in Seattle last time. He got to come back home and pitch, and those metrics on his home pitching was terrible. Bad. So he's getting back to good form here, okay? 9 strikeouts against Seattle, 9 against Kansas City, who Cleveland has to play. And he had 8 against Detroit. He got tore up against the Yankees, minus 17. So, you know, the Oakland game wasn't impressive. He gave up 3 earned runs and 3 innings pitched. They knocked him out quick. Oakland has been a big spoiler this year. But you still got to use that eye test and know that, you know, if he's having issues right here, 4 walks, locating the ball, he becomes exposed. And Seattle, they're going to wait. They're gonna wait on their pitches, man. You know, their lineup expectedly is Crawford, Rodriguez, Suarez. I like Suarez. Teoscar Hernandez got power. If he fools around with Mike Ford, he can take him deep. Cal Raleigh is a great switch hitter. He hits very good from the left side. So, I mean, it's a close consensus now. If you can look, you know, they got, what is it? You know, a minus 105 and a minus 115. So it's only a 10-digit difference there. So it's very close on the lines there. Okay, so I do believe it's gonna be a low-scoring game. I mean, it might be a home run here or there, and then when the bullpen comes in, this might be like a 4-2 game or something. Don't really recommend any of the bats. Now, I do like the left-hand bats for Seattle, because as you know, Maeda, in his log, he's been susceptible to giving up the long ball. That's why the ERA is what it is. And he's been walking. He did good against them last time. Can you replicate that again? But again, we got to see if he can do that at home, because at home he hasn't been entirely consistent. He had this is Kansas City now. He had 33 against Kansas City. They're not a good team. So he did what he's supposed to do. You know, when he pitched at home against the Yankees, they lit him up, man. That was bad. And in that game he gave up 11 hits. He woke up on the wrong side of bed that day. Did good in Miami, not good against the White Sox here at home. So I'm not gonna put a lot of trust into him. He's 8,600. That's kind of what I think he's still a little bit inflated. I think he should be more around 8,000. See, look at that. Why he went up $800? I don't know. I don't know why he went up 800. I guess maybe because he did, and he did all that work and didn't even get a win. 2 no decisions. So I'm pretty sure he'll be looking to get back in the win column. But I'm telling you, Seattle's gonna make him work. Seattle's they gotta stay up in that division now. They gotta stay up to try to keep pace with. They one at a time, so they're 4.5 behind Houston, and they're playing good. Winners their last 3. All right, so both teams have won. Somebody's gonna have to lose, but let's look at Castillo. Okay, I'm being honest with you. I like Castillo more today. He got 133 strikeouts on the year. His ERA is better. He's averaging about 20 fantasy points. He had 11 strikeouts against Minnesota. So both these pitchers were dealing last time against each other. Like when he played against Minnesota, he gave him hell, and then when Maeda was pitching against Seattle, he got 9 strikeouts. So in his away games, his ERA is more inflated, 3.51, 8 home runs and 41 innings pitched, 61 earned runs and 41. So if you look at his log, let's see, he had a no decision against them. Both of them did, and he lost against Detroit, and he did decent against Houston. So we know Minnesota strikes out a lot. We saw how Giolito, he just pretty much had his way with them. I see him doing a lot of the same today. So I like Castillo overall. Oh, look at this. Buston is out today. Oh man, Minnesota is, he's paternity leave, so he's on paternity leave. Not good. That's a big blow to their offense today. Honestly, they already got Polanco out, Miranda, Lewis, Solano's. He's not in the lineup. Yeah, so definitely Castillo is a must play today with no busting in that lineup. Look at that. You're going to pay some money for him, but his upside is there. Castillo on the right night can get you 30 fantasy points. And Minnesota ain't doing much of nothing. So if you roster him, if you want to get, he didn't do much because it wasn't. Actually, he did something. They kind of was dealing last time. He got 1 hit. He stole a base. This is kind of cream of the crop player right here, Rodriguez. 14 home runs. He's got over 50 RBIs. He doesn't have any doubles in a while. He got a hit in his last 2 games. So it kind of starts with him in that lineup. Crawford's been doing very good in the leadoff spot. I'm a big fan of Suarez. His salary, man, should be a lot higher. But Draftkings, they give you to him at a very great salary. So he can't hit for power. So he got 19, 18, 16, 12. So you gotta say if somebody can take advantage of Maeda, or if they're gonna get if your boy Castillo is gonna get qualified for the win, Seattle's gonna have to get some points from somewhere. Alright, so let's look at my boy Teoscar splits. And he's been doing good. Last time I played Seattle, they actually helped me take down a winners take all. Suarez got on base for me, and it was good, man. Trust myself. So he does good against righties. Slugging is not as good. He got 10 home runs. His on base percentage is not that great. His OPS on base plus slugging is okay. But he does a good job with runners in scoring position. He does a very good job. 3,200, man. You just shake your head on that one, man. I'm loading up on. I don't give a damn how much he took advantage of them with strikeouts, man. I like Seattle's matchup today. Maeda's lost a little bit on his velocity and his overall stuff. Let's look at my boy Eugenio. 14 home runs on the year, 58 RBIs, pretty decent. Against righties, look at that, man. 13 of his home runs have been against right-hand batters. OPS .711, slugging .385. At home, his average is not that great. OPS is okay. Definitely hits better at night. Again, bases loaded, 10 RBIs. After a 1-0 count, .463 slugging, .858 OPS. Does pretty decent with runs, with 2 outs in scoring position. So pretty admirable numbers there. Against Minnesota this year, he's batting .429. 1.143 slugging, OPS 1.643. You pretty much own them. Alright, so there you go. That's their main core players. Ford might be in there today due to him being a left-hand back. J.P. Crawford had a solid day yesterday. Okay numbers from JP. He had 5 hits and 16 at bats. Doesn't hit for a lot of power, but he's a good contact hitter. But he may get on base, to start things off. He's a lefty, so we can look him up real quick. Yeah, let's be thorough here. He is a leadoff hitter, and leadoff hitters are very important. Let's see. in my head as a right-hander. So look at that. All 8 of his home runs are coming against righties. Slugging .441 OPS. He's great against righties, man. So nighttime, decent. When nobody's on, .72 OPS. He does good with runners on. So I mean, you can't really. I got a 5 that's a 5-man stack for Seattle right there, man. You see how I feel about Seattle. I like them a lot today. I don't really like anybody today for this team. I don't. I think Castillo dominates. Their most talented player in this lineup is Carrera, and Kepler can be a hard out. He's been doing his thing versus Seattle. He got 6 hits and 14 at bats. Slugging over 1.00. OPS is out there. He likes playing against his team. So definitely roster Kepler, man. If you want to go against Lewis doesn't really give you much, man. I mean, if you're gonna get him, you better get him in that 1 inning, because after that he settles back down pretty quick. And he had 3 games where he didn't walk anybody. Now he's been giving up that long ball. And a lot of times that'd be the only blemish on some of these high salary players in Draftkings. They'll get you strikeouts, but then they'll get in that 1 inning where they hit a bottleneck and give up a 2-run shot. And it just kind of messes up the momentum of everything. But let's see. I mean, he had 11 strikeouts. If he didn't have them 2 home runs in that game against Minnesota and giving up them 3 runs, he would have easily had over 30 fantasy points for sure. All right, and let's go on to Cincinnati, Milwaukee. Cincinnati did pretty decent in that last game they had. They got Ashcraft on the mound, 5.77 ERA, 66 strikeouts, pretty mid all year. Been kind of decent in the earned run department. He hasn't given up more than 2 runs in his last 4 games. Got some pretty decent teams in there. San Diego, San Francisco, Milwaukee, league leader in their division. And Washington, who's been sneaky all year. So not a big strikeout guy. 3 against San Francisco, 2 against Milwaukee, 2 against Washington. Hasn't really hurt you in his last 4 games. Hasn't done anything astonishing outside the San Diego game. He's been giving you a solid 6 innings. That's good. Picked up the win against San Fran. No loss against Milwaukee. 1 against Washington. No decision against San Diego. Atlanta got something pretty good, but again, that's Atlanta. So Milwaukee, I mean, they don't put up a lot of runs. I mean, but they can generate runs. So let's go to covers and see what they're talking about. So people are liking Colin Ray. Colin Ray is kind of like, you just don't really know what's side of the bed. He does have some good stuff. I've seen him come out and when he has control, he can definitely be very valuable. So it's a 9 over under. That's kind of on the higher side. He didn't do good against him, and he hasn't beaten him all year. 2 games, he's lost both. 9.9 ERA. Again, I'm just kind of showing you. I'm not a big fan of Ashcraft like that. I know Milwaukee did lose their actually, I'm so sorry. I thought they actually lost that last game to Atlanta, but I guess they didn't. So their winners, they're 7-3 in their last 10, and this is going to be a good game. This is kind of like the Tampa Bay and Baltimore game we had the other day when they were fighting. So Tampa Bay, they're 1 game behind Baltimore. And this is an NL Central showdown here, man. So this is gonna be good. Both teams are in their winning forms, And Cincinnati, they're 4 games winning in a row here. So they're trying to get back going. They're 4-6 in their last 10. So you can tell they're scoreboard watching and they're division watching. So both pitchers are kind of around the same salary, $6,800, $6,500. Colin Ray is not very dominant. And look, mostly you got really on average he can get you about 2 to 3 strikeouts a game. So that's kind of dangerous when he's giving up the long ball like he is, because he's not really like countering off any mistakes. So 5 innings against Philly, they gave him a tough run. We already see he's not really done well against Cincinnati this year, so I wouldn't play any of these pitchers. If you're trying to get like 200 some points, man, the Colin Ray is not going to do it for you. And Cincinnati, they're gonna make him work, man. Honestly, I did have De La Cruz yesterday. He had that leadoff home run, but his salary was high as hell. You got to be kind of careful paying $6,000 for a batter, and you got pitchers that are $6,500. So you better know what you're doing. But I'm gonna give Cincinnati the nod in this one. Honestly, if you look at the lineup, I think overall they got a more talented lineup currently right now than Milwaukee. I did have India the other night, and he didn't do much. I was kind of disappointed. Let's do a little quick refresh. I mean, you can continue to ride a wave of De La Cruz if you can construct a lineup at his salary. I think it went down a little bit. He should be up there in that top spot. He does bat well for the left. Those managers do not like pitching to him when he's batting from the left. They'll bring in left-hand pitchers as much as they can just for this one guy in the lineup, man. So look out for India coming back. Let's see what his splits look like. I like De La Cruz. His splits against them pretty decent. He got a long ball against them, which is good. 6 RBIs and 37 at bat, so pretty admirable. I mean, he's batting 189, which is not great. Slugging is down, OBP. So all these metrics here are not really good. But he's still a very talented player. I mean, one swing in the bat can change his whole outlook. And he didn't really contribute like I wanted him to in that last series against Arizona. Look at that, 8-2-2. Like, no home runs, no triples, no doubles, no hits. He went hitless in the last 2 games. So Colin Ray, or however you want to call him, he doesn't really scare anybody. So I like Cincinnati in this on the road. I mean, Ashcraft, he hasn't been solid either. So there are going to be some opportunities here for him. Look at that. I mean, he's 0-2 against Milwaukee, man. 11 earned runs. So this is all bats here. Yelich had some good swings in that last series against the Braves. I would roster him too. I would get him out there, man. I mean, he's 2 home runs. I mean, he's kind of like the anchor of this team. And I think he's playing for something this year going into the second half. His 288 average is very impressive. 14 home runs. I think he's going for 20 home runs. He probably might be going for about 25 home runs, and he might try to flirt with 300 average. So 5,300. His salary went up by 400. You know, I definitely like him for sure. They're high, man. McClain is 5,700. I mean, you're gonna pay. You're gonna pay for Cincinnati bats, man. So good luck with that, constructing that. But get all bats in that game. No pitchers. Got Texas here going against Houston. We got John Gray, 3.31 ERA. It's kind of slowed down here during the second half of the season. Hasn't went 7 innings in the past 5 games. It's been giving up a lot of hits, guys. And it's going to be an interstate rivalry here, Texas and Houston. Let's look at his splits. He's going to be on the road. Got a batting average at 2.31 on the road, which is good. 4-2. Got a winning record on the road. 4 home runs and 46 innings pitched. So he's a lot more comfortable on the road than at home. Now, their lineup is kind of depleted for Houston, but they've been finding a way to still be competitive. But as long as they got Tucker and Bregman and people like Dubon and Diaz, they're kind of holding them down and taking advantage of the playing time. So I think Gray has a great matchup with no Altuve and no Jordan in this lineup. They got Abreu, might bat 4th, who knows. He's been a disappointing trade for them this year. I don't know how he's batting 243. Every time I watch him, he's either looking at a pitch and striking out or grounding out, pulling the damn ball all the time. He'll come out and have a good game every once in a blue moon, but by then, man, he been depleted your damn bankroll playing this joke every damn night. I mean, I don't know what happened to him. He was great with White Sox. Come over to Houston, he can't do nothing no more. So play him at your own risk. I mean, if you're a Houston faithful, you gotta roll with Tucker, man. I mean, I've kind of faded him the last few games, and I didn't reap the rewards of that 44 fantasy points performance against Oakland. That was huge. But he's the best player in their lineup, and he bats better for me. I mean, he's a great left-hand batter against righties. So, I mean, they're just hurting with Jordan out, Altuve, Michael Brantley been on the IL for a long time. It's kind of like, damage control until they get their lineup back fully healthy. So, Bregman's always going to be someone you got to account for. But he's high. He's 5,400, right? So, no home runs against Texas this year. He got 4 hits and 26 at bats. Slugging, his numbers don't look good, and Gray is like their ace today. So I don't really like Bregman. I do like Tucker. I'm not certain if we're going to put Dubon in there. He's a righty. I know they kind of like him more against lefties, but he could be sneaky at 4,000. Let's see. So, I mean, Abreu, man, he's just kind of hard to read, man. He's such a disappointment. But I'm looking at their lineup, and Texas they're leading their division. And to lead your division, it means you gotta be setting the bar high and leading by example. In not only in the AL West, but to the American League. And Gray's kind of digressed a little bit, but I like him today, man. Honestly, I can't really recommend not giving him a shot, especially with we just looked at splits, man. I mean, they're not great against Houston, so it's kind of a coin flip with him. You can play him, you might get some run support. I'm not certain if Seager's coming back today for them. They're hurting too, because I think Aroldis Garcia and Seager are both out. Yeah, so he's day to day. He had x-rays come back negative, so he got hit by a pitch. They got Seager on the IL with that sprained right thumb. So I don't trust the pitcher at all for Houston. I know those key names are not in the lineup for Brandon, but they still got Simeon, who has won the over his career, has had a good WAR average, and they still got Jung, and they can throw Jankowski in there, a good platoon lefty. His numbers aren't bad; they look pretty good. Hasn't had any sample size against Texas this year, so at home, he's doing better at home. Only 2 home runs in 5 games versus 8 away on the road, so that is a 1-up, man, for him. Let's see how this is a tough one for coverage to follow because there's some holes on both teams. So they like Texas, and I think they're just doing that because they feel like Gray has the better upside. But I don't know. I think Brandon, if he can don't walk anybody and force force Texas to try to, kind of find some momentum, because, try to find some identity with them not having Seager and Garcia in there. I mean, I think, again, it's very close. 105 minus 115. It can go either way. But, I mean, you might want, it's just, when I think about Houston's offense, it's just like, I don't know how they do it sometimes, even with some of their deficiencies, but Dusty Baker's a great manager, man. He gets those boys ready for situational baseball. So it's gonna be a good game. They're scoring a 9 over under. I think Gray has kind of slowed down. Like, he was doing very good at the beginning of the year, honestly. I don't think we can go all the way back, but he had a stretch there right here. 30 against Seattle, 29 against Oakland, 30 against Baltimore, 27 against Seattle. St. Louis, 41 points. And he got tore up by Toronto. And then after that, he just kind of fell down. So I don't know if the season is wearing on him or what, but Houston is a disciplined team, man. Again, we're going to look at one last thing. He got 83 strikeouts on the year. So ERA 6.75. That might have been when they was a little bit more healthier. Houston was, and I'm giving a nod to Houston in this one, man. I think they've learned how to play more without Altuve and Jordan than Texas have learned how to play without Garcia and Aroldis. I think they're hurting more than Houston is. So. Advantage Houston, man. Texas, Josh Jung, definitely. Jonah Heim, I think he did some damage. He's a switch hitter, so those are only 2 players I really like in the lineup, Jung and Heim, and I think they kind of bat one after another. Everything else I don't really like. I like Bregman. I like, it's tough for me to even utter the first baseman for for Houston. Abreu. It's like a flip coin, but you know what? If you're gonna run a stack, you don't have to put him in the stack. If you run a Houston stack, run him in there. He didn't do anything yesterday, so he's gonna have to do something today. So in that lineup, definitely take Dubon, Bregman, Tucker, Abreu. Play the first 4, and you can probably run Pena in there with Pena or Jones, 1 or 2, and run it, man. Alright, we go to the next game. Pittsburgh and San Diego. What did Pittsburgh do recently? So they won a game. Sad for Pittsburgh, man. That city has been plagued for years, since their Barry Bonds days. I would really like to see them become competitive one day, but they still got a couple years to go. So on the mound, let's see who they got. San Diego is always deceiving. So they got their ace, Darvish. San Diego does this. Priester guy, I'm not certain who he is. They say he got roughed up in his last outing. I can see how. 7 earned runs and 5 in his pitch. He gave up 2 home runs, 2 strikeouts. So it's not a good sign. Darvish, on the other hand, he's at home. He's had some very good games at home, honestly. He's been on point lately, man. You know, you can definitely roster him. We want to keep this one simple. He going against Sawinski, who is very good. From the left side, Reynolds. You know, they gave him a huge contract there in Pittsburgh. He's definitely in play. Santana's in play. And I don't really like anybody else after that. So, I mean, the top 4 guys or who I would focus on for Pittsburgh. I just no one else. Piguero and Gonzalez. Maybe Gonzalez. Maybe if you want like some one-offs down here. But Darvish has been very dominant, man, recently. This Quinn Priester, he's going to have a long day, man. I'm pretty sure the hitters for... and I like Darvish, by the way. I do. I think he can work around Sawinski. I'm not really fearing McCutcheon like that right now. Going into the latter end. Reynolds could be an issue. He had 17. He went deep yesterday. So, I mean, if you want to play maybe a contrarian play against San Diego, you definitely want to get Reynolds in there for sure. He got 2 multi-hit games back-to-back. That was huge. He's seeing the ball good, man. So, he's always been one of my favorite players. And he's a switch hitter. Again, he bats better from the left side. You got McCutcheon here. He got 8.7 FPPG versus San Diego. That's not bad. Got a double. 6 hits and 14 at-bats. So, Andy McCutcheon, he's definitely in play. Sawinski hits right. He's pretty good. 1 home run. 9 at-bats. That's why I say I like the top of the order in this one. All these guys' metrics look good. So, 1 or 2 might get lucky throughout the game. You'll take that. If Darvish can get you 8 to 10 strikeouts, which he's more than capable of. 9,400. You're gonna pay a pretty penny for him. We put him in the lineup. I'm averaging 3,600. Yep, 3,600. So, let's see what Cronenworth looks like. Not too good there. His game log, decent game log in the last 3 games. Had a good series against Detroit. Had 2 triples and a double. Yeah, so his wob was looking very good. He's a lefty going against Priester, so he's normally kind of batting in the middle of that lineup. So he's definitely going to get some RBI opportunities right there behind Bogart and Machado. So Cronenworth looks good, man, for sure. So I like San Diego all in this. Don't really care too much for Pittsburgh. 77% on covers. 8.5 ERA. I mean, over under, not ERA. Plus 225 for Pittsburgh. Priester's not somebody that Vegas is even trusting or even is looking at. So pretty easy. I got Darvish plugged in there. Definitely run with him. Goldie wasn't in the lineup last time for St. Louis. We're moving on to St. Louis and Arizona. And Arizona's fighting, man. They came off that series here recently with Cincinnati. And they lost 3 in a row, man. So can they get their head together and try to roll out a game plan against St. Louis? They both pretty much are slumping right now. Say, they lost their last two. So both of these teams are going to be scrapping. St. Louis, they're 11 games behind Milwaukee, which is a huge disappointment after they was trying to, actually do good there. They're 7-3 in their last 10. So, they gave Goldie the day off. He'll be back in the lineup today. Maybe that might give him some refreshment. New Bar's back, DTD, so that's not good. Not certain what happened to him. Yeah, he had a right heel soreness, so that's not good. Sorry, man. New Bar. I like him a lot, man. And if they win, they really need him. So two of their better hitters that are capable of leading off or not playing, Edman and Newbar. That's not good, man. That's not good. Let's see who they're running into today. They got Nelson on the mound. Ren Nelson, kind of a higher ERA, 4.82, 6.5 win-loss record. So got messed up against the Mets, -10. Came back with an 11 performance against Toronto, and then 23 against Atlanta. I was very surprised how he handled himself versus Atlanta. I mean, he had 2 home runs in that game. He had 5 strikeouts. He went 7 innings, so that's pretty impressive. Now, St. Louis is going to get Goldie back in the lineup. Looks like Donovan might have to lead off with New Bar being on the day-to-day. The consensus on this game is I don't like Wainwright at all, honestly. I think it's going to be a lot of fireworks in this game. Trust me. It's probably more like a 9 to 10-0, 9.5 to 10-0 run there. Get a lot of bats, scrap the pitchers. Wainwright's come back off the IL. His hard hit contact rate is bad. Get some Arizona bats in your lineup. Definitely get some Arizona. Roll an Arizona stake out there. If Wainwright holds down the fort, you give him the thumbs up and keep him moving. But I doubt he's going to be in there more. I doubt he gets out the 3rd inning, to be honest with you. I mean, his metrics have not been good. I mean, he's been a staple in that organization for a while, and I mean, they allowed him to come back, but look at these numbers. They're porous, man. -14 against the Cubs, -11 against Houston, -0.05 against Miami. Like, he's finna run into Arizona, who needs a win, so nah. Give me somebody else. Definitely give me somebody else. Edman on the IL. Gorman is day-to-day. Contreras is day-to-day. So there are some opportunities for Nelson. If you want to go with one of the pitchers in this matchup, it will be definitely Nelson. Do not pick Wainwright. Trust me. Let him come out and beat you. And if he beats you, it's not going to be definitely not going to be no Johnny Cueto performance for sure. But, yeah, man, they're missing some core players here for St. Louis. So that does open up some opportunities for Nelson. Let's look at his metric and see how he pitches at home. Let's look at his splits. So, home games, not good at all. 8.08. I was going to try to give him the benefit of the doubt with some of these players out, but they got a deep bench in St. Louis. They got a deep bench. They got DeYoung on the bench, and O'Neal, Walker can be dangerous. You got Yepes off the bench, Burleson. Like, they're deep. Furman, so tough one here, man. Tough one here. I gotta give the nod to Arizona, guys, because I don't trust Wainwright. St. Louis has a lot of players. If you're gonna pick a team in this, I definitely put my money. I'll put some money on the money line on Arizona for sure. Yeah, St. Louis is they're already a struggling team record-wise. performance-wise. And yeah, so the line is off because Vegas, they don't want to get bear hugged. They don't know who's going to start for St. Louis. They don't trust Wainwright, I can tell you that. It's not indoctrinated that Reed Nelson is going to be the pitcher either. But yeah, man, get Arizona stacking there against Wainwright. Don't get your lineup fucked over by playing Nelson. Now you got the hitters for Arizona doing good for you, and the pitchers in the negative. So don't do it. Stay away from the pitchers in that game. St. Louis, the only person I really could recommend in that lineup is Arenado. If Goldie plays, he got a day off, he should be fresh. I would look into Goldie. Look at that. He's got a home run, a run batted in, a walk, a double, 2 hits, and 8 at-bats. He's doing good against Arizona this year. So, the usual suspects, Arenado and Goldie, man. I mean, you're going to pay a lot for Goldie, $6,100. He's worth it. Arenado, he's worth it. He's had a very good July so far. And this game, I'll probably tune in. It's a late game, 10-10, but I always like when Toronto and the Dodgers play. I think they both bring out the best in each other. A lot of sluggers, in this game. A lot of exciting players like Bichette. You got Springer, Guerrero Jr., Chapman. Of course, you got Freeman, Betts, Muncy, J.D. Martinez. You got a lot of really good names, good talented players all across the board, right? Let's see how Toronto been doing lately. They're losers of their last 2, not good. I mean, they have an opportunity to get back in this thing, but you're dropping games like that, man. And now you got to play the Dodgers, not good. Anytime you're on a losing streak and then you got to run to the Dodgers, well, I pray for you. So they're minus 120 on the money line. The Dodgers are. They're smart offense. Michael Grove is not that good, and Berrios have had control issues all year. Let's look at some splits. Berrios, no sample size there. His log, I mean, he did good against San Diego. I've been seeing a lot of mid pitchers or pitchers trying to find their identity, having good games against San Diego. I don't understand that. But he had 9 strikeouts against them. Against Arizona, they gave him fits, 13 fantasy points. Again, the main thing is that he hasn't given up the long ball, which is very important. He's had some good performances here. 26 against the White Sox, and so do I dare put him against the Dodgers? No, I don't. I'm not playing anybody against the Dodgers, honestly, unless I don't have a choice to. If it's a short slate or something. But Dodgers, man, they got Arizona and San Francisco on their back, so this is a game that they gotta win. I know they've been putting up a lot of runs lately, but Grover's gonna probably give up something, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're gonna have to be real focused at the plate. But yeah, Michael Grove, 6.4 ERA, hasn't really hurt you with any negative stats. But kind of some mid performances. Again, he didn't even get double-digit performances against Pittsburgh and Colorado. So Baltimore didn't give up any home runs, but he did give up 5 hits in 5 innings. He won the game because you can be a pitcher, a mediocre pitcher on the Dodgers and be undefeated with like 4 or 5 games because you keep money. I mean, they just give good run support, and that allowed it. They can put up a 3-4 spot in the first inning, and that makes it very comfortable for you when you go back on the mound. You feel like you can extend the strike zone now. You don't got to pitch perfect. So he's been getting that. His ERA is high, but don't let the win-loss record fool you. 10-3 against Baltimore, 10-5 against Anaheim. He had a no decision against Pittsburgh. Got lucky in that game. No decision against Colorado, which was an 8-9 game. No decision against Houston, a 3-2 game. So doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. Not a real power pitcher. He doesn't have any games that's went into the 7th inning in his last 5 games. So I would just really honestly just scratch both pitchers in this game. I'm not gonna put Barrios up against the Dodgers. I don't like putting anybody. I've seen people take down contests by rolling the dice and picking the pitcher against the Dodgers and making the Dodgers just look mediocre. Like, because you can't get lucky and get them jokers waking up on the wrong side of the bed. And you're just looking like, is this the Dodgers that I really know? But it takes a lot of gut and balls to do that. But I don't think you need to take such a risk today with 8 games. I honestly don't. Home games, he does very well. Whip 1.11. He's giving up a lot of home runs, though, at home. There's nothing on either side alike. He's at home, but them 8 home runs at home in 31 innings, that's bad. 17 earned runs, like 4.83 ERA at home, 101 record away. He's got a .394 batting average, 8.85 ERA. So he's more like a 4th, 5th starter in the rotation. And even if he gets the 4 points for a win, and the Dodgers give him run support, he probably won't get more than like 15, 16, 17 fantasy points, because Toronto's definitely going to test him. Alright, so that's pretty much wraps it up, man. I hope you enjoy the in-depth look at everything, and good luck to you, man. I don't know if I want to keep this Seattle stat, but I will have some Seattle players. I definitely like Castillo, so we'll see. I'm going to move some stuff around, but this right here is actually pretty good. If you want me to kind of flush it out and pick a second baseman here. Monasterio looks good at 2,700. He bats there in the middle of that order for Milwaukee. Yeah, that's a game. That's gonna be a highly divisional game there. But a lot going on. Terrain is not bad, but I think I might go with Monasterio more. He had 2 RBIs, 3 hits, and 23 at bats. So average at 130. So he had a home run against Atlanta, but I'm not too impressed with this guy. I played him a few times before. Terrain, and he just strikes out. 4 RBIs, 6 hits and 25 at bats. That's a little bit better, average 240, 7.721 OPS. So it'll be between him, Monasterio, and probably the other young guy, Terrain, but I'll just put Monasterio in there for now. And that's it, man. That's how that lineup looks, man. Appreciate it, you guys. Thanks for if you came to the stream today. Appreciate you supporting me, and we're gonna continue to keep being consistent and put this out. All right. Good luck to you. I'll be looking for y'all.